On a dark stretch of Sunset Boulevard, a blue Shelby GT500 was found with the door open and the engine still warm. No driver, no note, no explanation. The car belonged to one of the most famous men in the world. 3 weeks later, he was dead, and the car was never seen again. By 1967, Jim Morrison was everywhere. The Doors were selling out arenas across America. His face was on every magazine. His voice was on every radio. But Jim Morrison didn't own a house, he didn't own furniture, he barely owned clothes. He owned one thing, a 1967 Ford Shelby GT50 Midnight Blue, 428 cubic inch V8, 360 horsepower. He called her the Blue Lady. The car was a gift from Jack Holzman, the founder of Elektra Records, to celebrate the Doors' first #1 hit, Light My Fire. Morrison loved that car in a way he loved almost nothing else. He drove it hard late at night alone through the canyons of Los Angeles. Windows down, no destination. He even put it in a film. In 1969, he shot an experimental movie in the Mojave Desert called HWI, An American Pastoral. The Blue Lady was the star, not him, the car. For Jim Morrison, the Blue Lady wasn't transportation. It was the only thing in his life that asked nothing from him. And then without warning, she disappeared. Sometime in late 1970 or early 1971, the Blue Lady vanished from Jim Morrison's life. There are two theories, and they contradict each other completely. Theory 1, Morrison crashed the car. One night on Sunset Boulevard, after drinking heavily, he lost control of the Shelby and hit a telephone pole. The car was badly damaged. Morrison walked away from the scene, went to a party, and never went back for it. People close to him say this is exactly the kind of thing he would do. Walk away from something broken and never look back. But here is the problem with that theory. Nobody ever found the car. Not at the scene, not at a body shop, not at a junkyard. If a 1967 Shelby GT500 was wrecked on one of the most famous streets in Los Angeles, someone would have noticed. Someone would have records. There are none. Theory 2, someone took it. By 1971, Jim Morrison was in serious trouble. His trial in Miami, where he was accused of exposing himself on stage, had ended with a conviction. He was facing prison time. His health was deteriorating fast. The people around him were changing. Some of those who knew him believed the Blue Lady didn't disappear by accident. They believed someone close to Morrison, someone who knew he was leaving for Paris and might not come back, quietly made the car disappear. Why? Some say it was taken as payment for debts Morrison had let pile up. Others say someone simply stole it, knowing he was too far gone to notice or care. A few people close to his inner circle have suggested something darker, that the disappearance of the car was a signal. That the people around Jim Morrison in those final months were already preparing for a world without him. What makes this theory harder to dismiss is the timing. The Blue Lady vanished approximately 6 months before Morrison left for Paris. And Jim Morrison left for Paris on March 13, 1971. He was found dead in a bathtub on July 3rd. He was 27 years old. The official cause of death was heart failure. There was no autopsy. No car, no autopsy, no answers. Here is where the story gets stranger. In the decades after Morrison's death, several people have claimed to know what happened to the Blue Lady. A mechanic in Hollywood said he worked on a Shelby matching the description in 1971, brought in by a man he didn't recognize who paid in cash and never came back. A collector in Arizona claimed to have purchased the car in the mid-1970s through a private sale with no paperwork. A woman in New Mexico said her late husband kept a blue Shelby in a locked garage for 30 years and refused to ever talk about where it came from. None of these leads were ever confirmed. None of them were ever fully ruled out either. The car is currently valued at somewhere between $8 and $12 million. It is one of the most sought-after missing vehicles in automotive history. Investigators, collectors, and Morrison obsessives have been looking for it for over 50 years. And here is the detail that stays with you. Jim Morrison was one of the most photographed men of his generation. There are thousands of images of him. On stage, in studios, on the street. There is almost no photograph of him with the Blue Lady, as if the car was always meant to be a ghost. Jim Morrison died at 27 with no will, no estate plan, and no record of what happened to his most prized possession. The Blue Lady was never reported stolen, never listed as missing, never turned up in any official record anywhere in the world. A 1967 Shelby GT500 does not simply vanish. These cars are documented, tracked, coveted. Collectors have located examples that sat untouched in barns for 40 years. But this one, the one that belonged to the man who sang "Light My Fire," the one that crossed the Mojave Desert in a film nobody watched, the one that was left on Sunset Boulevard with the door open and the engine warm, this one has never been found. Some people believe it's sitting in a private collection somewhere, owned by someone who knows exactly what it is and has chosen to say nothing. Some believe it was crushed in a junkyard in 1972, and the story of the crash on Sunset Boulevard is true, and there is nothing more to find. And some believe that finding the Blue Lady would answer questions that go far beyond the car itself. Questions about who was really around Jim Morrison in those final months. Questions about what they knew, and when they knew it, and what they chose to do about it. The car disappeared before he did. Maybe that was a coincidence. Or maybe the Blue Lady knows exactly what happened to Jim Morrison, and she's been keeping the secret for 50 years. If you think you know what happened to the car or to him, leave it in the comments. Because after 50 years, nobody has solved this. Maybe someone watching this has the piece that's been missing.